There's a generation that everyone forgot about. They're not boomers, they're not millennials, they're not Gen Z, they're Gen X, born between 1965 and 1980. And they're probably the most psychologically misunderstood generation alive. While boomers and millennials fight about everything, Gen X is standing in the corner going, whatever, and handling their business. From the outside, they look cynical, detached, maybe even cold. But if you think Gen X just doesn't care, you're completely missing the psychology of a generation that learned to survive without being seen. So today, we're breaking down the real psychology behind Gen X. Let's go deeper. First, you need to understand how Gen X grew up. They're called the Latchkey Generation for a reason. Both parents worked, divorce rates skyrocketed, kids came home to empty houses, made their own snacks, did their homework alone, and figured things out without supervision. And here's what this created psychologically: radical self-reliance. Gen X learned early that no one was coming to save them. No helicopter parents, no participation trophies, no constant validation. If you needed help with homework, you figured it out. If you were bullied, you handled it. If you were bored, you entertained yourself. The world wasn't built around you, and nobody pretended it was. This isn't coldness, this is survival adaptation. Gen X learned to be okay alone because being alone was their reality, and that shaped everything about how they operate as adults. Gen X is famously cynical, but their cynicism isn't random, it's earned. They watched their parents get laid off after decades of loyalty to companies. They saw the economy crash. They witnessed the fall of institutions that promised stability. They grew up on MTV showing them unfiltered reality instead of sanitized TV. So they developed cynicism as a protective mechanism. Don't believe the hype, don't trust institutions, don't expect loyalty. Expect things to fall apart, and you won't be disappointed. Boomers believed in the system. Millennials demand the system change. Gen X, they just assume the system is broken and work around it. Their psychology runs on hope for the best, expect the worst, and don't be surprised when it all goes sideways. Here's the thing about Gen X: they're culturally invisible. The media talks about boomers, the media talks about millennials. Gen Z gets endless attention. Gen X, they're just there, doing their thing, running companies quietly, raising kids without posting about it. And psychologically, this tracks. Gen X is the middle child of generations, too young for boomer privilege, too old for millennial attention. So they developed middle child psychology: independent, low maintenance, doesn't need the spotlight. They don't complain loudly because they learned complaining doesn't change anything. They don't demand recognition because they never got it anyway. They just adapt and keep moving. But here's what people miss. This makes them psychologically resilient in ways other generations aren't. They don't need external validation to function. They don't collapse when things get hard. They just handle it. Gen X's signature phrase is "whatever," and everyone thinks it means they don't care. They care. They care deeply. Whatever is emotional self-protection. It means I care, but I'm not giving you the power to see that I care, because caring openly has gotten me hurt before. Gen X learned that showing you care too much makes you vulnerable. Showing disappointment gives people power over you. So they developed this cool detachment as armor. They'll help you move and act like it's no big deal. They'll give you advice and pretend they don't care if you take it. They'll care about you intensely, but never make it weird or dramatic. This isn't apathy. This is caring without the performance. And psychologically, it comes from a generation that didn't get rewarded for emotional expression, so they learned to keep it internal. So here's the psychology of Gen X in summary. They're radically self-reliant because they raised themselves. They're cynical because life taught them to be. They're invisible because they learned to operate without attention. And they say whatever because caring openly feels dangerous. But what looks like detachment is actually resilience. What looks like cynicism is actually realism. What looks like apathy is actually self-protection. Gen X isn't broken, they're adapted. They're the generation that learned to thrive without a safety net, function without applause, and survive without being seen. Drop your country or city in the comments. Let's see where you're watching from. Hit subscribe. We go deeper every day. And to all the Gen Xers watching, the world forgot about you, but you never needed them to remember anyway.